and we'll get right on things with some engagement rolls. And before that, what is Templar doing to gather information?
Gonna survey the area. Need to know what escape routes, entry points, places of particular note that we can stage things. You know, the whole 9 yards.
For sure. And this is for the ritual itself?
Yes. Right? I am going to roll.
Okay.
Obviously using survey.
Survey.
No bonus die. Hey!
Oh, very nice. Okay.
I'll take a 6.
The building is as it was described. The going through Dunslough, avoiding the main thoroughfares, and the slightly more questionable parts of the district, despite the fact the whole place is
questionable.
Certainly, yeah, decidedly one of the most unsafe areas you could go to. You see the building in question, and actually from various windows, you notice you're getting a few kind of almost concerned glances from the locals as you get closer and closer. Seeing it, you find that area more or less completely abandoned, and save for the very distant chanting, you see the building itself, the roof long since collapsed in, and rickety scaffolding sits on what was probably once the attic space, built upwards higher than the building's original structure. And keeping more or less into the shadows and just observing, it seems to be predominantly occupied by said hollows. However, as you look, one of those clearly more in their faculties and likely a part of the church itself, dressed casually, not in the traditional robes of office, meaning their rank is otherwise unknown, leaves and makes their way back up to the north and back into Dusklough itself. And as they do, you see that this youngish man kind of holds his temple. The colour seems to have drained slightly from his cheeks as well. Just being in the presence of this has made him decidedly uneasy. And as you look, it's one way up. He stops in a doorway, kind of leans up against it, and it looks like he's about to throw up before he regains control and deep breaths and continues on his way.
Question.
Yeah.
Is this similar to the effects that the book we stole caused?
No, this seems those seem to be much more physical injury, especially around the mouth, as if speaking the words themselves is to the reader's detriment.
Okay, because I remember hearing about headaches when being around the book, etc. So I thought I'd check. Okay.
Such side effects. If you were to hear somebody reading from it, probably such side effects would be similar. However, in both personal experiences for both characters, you're well aware that during rituals, those that listen can be subjected to unwanted side effects. It's fairly well documented and certainly, at least in circles, common knowledge.
Hi.
Caroline, would you like to gather any intel yourself?
Yeah, Caroline is going to talk to maybe people nearby and gather rumors. Yeah, mostly gossips about the crews and what's going on.
Okay, make me that check.
Can I? Can I go with sway?
Sway or attune, I'd say, is especially if you're looking for any kind of ghosts in the area.
Yeah, attune.
Oh, very nice.
The curse is broken.
Absolutely. As this ritual is ongoing, you feel that presence even before you shift your own perceptions to deal with the ghost field. Things are being drawn into this place. Would you like to speak to anything in particular?
Maybe someone was being here for a long time and might have noticed a change.
Sorry, say again? There's someone who's...
Someone who has been there for quite a long time already and has probably noticed things changing.
Okay. There's an old figure who, despite the fact that their legs kind of fade away into nothingness, you can see they quite clearly, even in death, still hobble along on a crutch, and that one leg extends before disappearing out longer than the other one, which seems to cut off at midway through the thigh. Looks up, one eye remains this white glow, the other one hollow, and seems to draw backwards into an impossible, infinite darkness. And as the good eye turns to look at you, what would you like to ask?
How has the ghost field evolved with the arrival of the hollows? What does it look like? What does it feel like recently?
The way between us shut. As it kind of disperses and reemerges, sort of almost behind you, looking over your shoulder. It's almost as if calling. Once again, reemerges again to the other side of you. Drawn in like moths to the flame.
I can ask. He has any idea of what happens to the ghost who gets attracted?
It's as if we are held. Once again, unable to leave this place. The voices call, and they do not let go.
That is interesting. Well, let's hope we can do something about it.
Across these drawn back lips that expose the skeletal teeth underneath, it sort of gives a something which just might pass for a smile. It disperses once again. And with that, let's make an engagement roll. Question 1. Is this plan overly bold or daring?
Could I argue changing one incantation into another is particularly bold because we don't know what the cross-section of those incantations might cause?
Also, we are going after the main church of Dusk Falls. The one that's funded by the state, so...
Yep, I'd say so. So that's 2 on that one. Does this plan exploit a vulnerability or hit your target where they're weakest?
Well, it is technically a small sect of said church, so they're not at their full power. Also, quite frankly, they're using hollows, which are mindless, very suggestible type individuals, so changing the programming shouldn't be that hard as soon as elements are removed.
I'm going to say that's certainly hollows. Yes, that's exploiting a vulnerability. When you say removing elements, that's more creating one. So that's part of the score itself. But certainly,
Yeah.
So that puts you to 3. Can any of your friends or allies provide assistance?
If this was simple elimination, all could help, but this isn't a simple elimination.
Oh. Caroline.
Yes, I'm...
Yeah.
I am going to make you a devil's bargain.
Okay. Did I get a Jeremy too?
With the use of a specialist piece of kit on loan to you. However, this also comes at a cost of use from Flint.
Yeah.
2 souls. Go on the market.
Nice. Templar with Caroline at this point.
Is Templar there?
I'm sorry, what exactly is the double bargain? I didn't catch what it actually was.
You need to bring back all those ghosts around there. 2 of them need to come back, and they're going on the spirit market.
And what do we get in exchange?
You get your die here, and a piece of kit that's, as of yet, unnamed, but feel free to use something a little more creative that someone like Flint would have access to, so likely dealing with the arcane or the supernatural.
So, Can I make an argument here that technically, we're gonna get the die no matter what because Quellen, she's a witch. We're changing arcane rituals.
Yeah, do not need that.
You're going to say, okay. So puts you up to 4. And are there any other factors you would like to consider?
I don't got any.
Anything.
So there are certainly a higher tier.
Down one.
Yeah. Okay, that is going to... So that's going to set you at 3. Not a bad roll. Here we go. 4. As you approach. Yeah. So as you approach, what would you like to do?
Well. So. I think right now, what Cathal's going to be doing is, as we actually approach and get into the area, Cathal's gonna be mainly looking around to see what exactly all... Because obviously there's the chanting and the incantation, that's obvious. But I think Cathal wants to look around and see if there's anything else involved. Any specific items placed in specific locations that, while maybe mundane to some people, might, you know, hint at certain occult matrices. You know the ordeal here.
Maybe that check.
Not survey?
Survey is good.
Risky standard?
Yeah.
No. I hope. It's gonna be worse.
As and of course you are welcome to resist as you hang in the air, as you stay in the area more and more. That increasing sense of discomfort gives way to numbness in your fingers, and you feel your vision narrow as your head begins to absolutely pound. And I'm going to say that's a level 2 harm of heavily disorientated, affecting insight. Would you like to resist?
Yeah, I'll resist. I resist.
Nice. No stress, but level 1 harm as you're able to talk yourself back. You feel your slight tingling in your fingers now rather than that numbness. And the tunnel vision goes as level 1 harm of slight disorientation.
And that affects
Insight.
All right.
Caroline, is there anything you would like to do?
Trying to think about something. Probably just start gather ghosts to help. Like just have them nearby.
Okay. Say you have greater effect because there's, as you know, they've gathered in here. So make me that roll.
Okay.
A 6 on a great effect.
As you find yourself surrounded by voices, you hear the whispers through the ghost fields, and 1 becomes 2, which becomes 4, 6, as they all begin to draw in towards you, almost feeling your place in their world. What's next? Templar? Anything you would like to do?
Well, as stated, as long as there doesn't seem to be any clear threats, etc., and I can't find any sort of arcane implements anywhere, I'm going to start attempting to change their tune.
So you're still outside at the moment.
Okay.
Is that
Well,
what you had
I thought
in mind,
we had
or?
kind of went in already, because that's what I.
Oh, okay.
That's when I did the survey. I thought that was Templar going in and starting to look around the area.
Yes. It's as you step inside. So I'll give you a description and somewhat retroactively. As you step inside, the floor has been caved in, and that has been extended wider. Looking down, the area is illuminated by old candles which burn low and flicker as the door opens. And looking in, you see the the hollowed, who stand in the depths of what was once the basement, in a disorganized and somewhat broken circle. All of them chanting in unison together, while one other figure lies in the center of this circle and occasionally spasms and convulses.
How many, roughly?
Quick count: 12, probably 12 hollows, and said figure at the center. Whether or not they are hollowed, you have no idea.
Well, barring just leaping down there, Templar's gonna look for a way down there.
You see that there is a smaller section away from the center, which, rather than dropping into the center of their circle, there is another section in the corner where an old ladder has been propped up and is used as obviously the point of ingress for any would-be visitors to the site.
Alright, so Templar's gonna make his way down that ladder gingerly. Gonna do his best, because he is a big individual. And you mentioned old. Please don't do that. Oh, you chose a big character. Time to really hammer in on that. Ladder breaks. You fall. Take level 3 harm.
It's this ladder has been put here for the purpose of using it. It's in much better repair than the rest of the building. Yeah. While it does creak a little bit under the sheer size, it's not going to give way merely by looking at it. It's not quite that decrepit.
Right, yeah, so...
And as you step down and turn around, look into the floor, you see two of the hollowed turn round this very kind of shambling gate as they shuffle round, almost like the old tank control video game, turning on the spot, and look at you, kind of heads at these strange, almost like their heads aren't really supporting their bodies anymore. And they look in your direction, and you see in the half light that there is something missing behind the eyes. It's almost like the light has gone as the chanting continues regardless.
In Templar's head, he's going, it almost better. But Templar is going to begin attempting to change their tune to a very specific song.
Oh.
And
with that, we're gonna... sorry, go on.
Oh, I was gonna say, we never actually chose load at this point.
Of course, sorry.
I should let you know, I do have a heavy load.
Okay.
I don't think a Templar will ever have anything other than heavy on.
And what load has Lottie... Caroline got? Still got Lottie in my head.
Normal.
Normal. Okay. What are you using? For your load, sorry, Templar. Did you want to use something?
Oh, I was gonna say, I am gonna check off arcane implements, because I feel like not quite sure what will be of use here, but I have a feeling something will be of use, so I'm checking it.
Yeah, so to give you the breakdown of what is included in arcane implements, you have
Quicksilver.
I
know that.
A vial of quicksilver, a pouch of black salt, a spirit anchor in the form of a small stone, a spirit bottle, a vial of electroplasm designed to break and splatter on impact.
Okay, so what does a pouch of black salt do? Out of curiosity, because I don't actually know what that does.
That is in Creations. Black salt is a it's a black salt bomb. Covers a small room, keeping ghosts from exiting or entering. So the actual salt is your typical salt in a doorway or in a point of.
Okay, so it's your typical.
Put it in a circle around you, keep them away.
Okay. All right.
Bear in mind that ghosts aren't necessarily held back by the usual means of entering a room. They can manifest in it. So.
All right. Well, it's still going to be one of those things. Yep. Do you want me to go ahead and give an attune roll, or do you want to go ahead and skip to Caroline?
We'll jump to Caroline, but make that roll in the meantime. Caroline, what are you doing as Templar heads down to the basement level?
Caroline is going to create a little bit of chaos to divert the attention of what Templar is doing.
Oh, go for it.
Is this more of an
And how-
assist?
Is that? Oh, yeah. Is that something you would like to assist Templar with, or is it something you would like to do separately?
I think it's more an assist than something different. Like to make sure he goes unnoticed the most possible. The most unnoticed possible.
Okay, so you're taking the assist. So you take 1 stress, and Templar, you get a bonus die.
Okay, I'm also gonna push myself.
Okay. For that, would you like to increase the effect, or would you like to?
What is the position and effect?
Let's say this is quite high risk with going for the full-on disruption. So we'll say desperate action, normal effect. So you can obviously go to a greater effect.
I'm sorry. I'm giving this a little bit of thought here.
No, absolutely, that's what it's.
Okay. So, I would also say at this time, I will take the effect.
Okay.
And then at the same time, I'm popping that vial of Quicksilver.
Okay.
Which gives me, which when I imbibe, I get +1 to attune rolls. This feels like an attune, so I'm going to be rolling attune.
I think it absolutely it does.
So that means I'm going to roll 3 dice for great effect. Desperate action.
Yeah. Mark off the experience.
I also know I'm going to take a level 2 harm for the Quicksilver, but it shouldn't affect this roll, obviously. Otherwise, it's kind of stupid.
No. It's a tune as well, so it is going to affect. It will affect prowess.
Yes.
As your body is going to literally feel like it's on fire.
Burned out. I think it's the level 2 harm I take, or something like
So
that. Zoned out. It's zoned out. The level 2 harm I take.
Oh, it's zoned out. Oh, okay. Yeah, as your.
All right.
So that's probably insight, actually. Again, so it's a -1 die to insight.
Okay. So this is a desperate action. This is
you're also
great effect.
taking Quicksilver.
And I get 2 bonus die.
No, it's only 1 because you got the greater effect from pushing yourself.
Yeah, and then I get +1 for attune.
Oh, and Quicksilver. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, that's getting ahead of myself. Okay.
Oof. Feels nothing. 5.
Successful. As the 2 that look at you, one of them sort of falls forward and begins crawling on its hands and feet at a speed which seems unnatural, while the other one leaps and is gonna go in just with swiping these ragged, broken fingernails. You can see as they come towards you are muddied and clotted with blood already. Would you like to resist?
Gonna take
and
armor.
take armor. Okay. Would you like to take heavy armor for 2 levels?
So, how much harm are they going to do if I don't do anything? Just
Level 3. On a desperate action, these things are feral. Their teeth, claws. tearing. It'd be level 2. Sorry, you still got the success, so it'd be level 2.
Okay, so if I take armor, it would take it down to a level 1, less effect on probably prowess, I'm guessing?
Yes. Or you can take the heavy armor and negate all the damage, or you could take the armor and resist.
I'm gonna have, if I want to have anything, I'm gonna have to take armor and then resist.
Give me that prowess.
Okay, Caroline, if I roll anything lower than, if I roll a 2 or lower, it's on you.
Okay.
Please let my resistance rolls still be what they have been. 0 stress.
And how do you resist?
So these things launch at me. Obviously, I wasn't expecting the quickness, so they do get a hold of me a little bit, but luckily the armor that's actually underneath my clothing, which most people don't ever get to see very much, but obviously since my clothes are getting torn at here, the chains that are wrapped around Templar's body are somewhat exposed, but they are able to withstand as I kind of pull away, and I give myself a bit of distance, and I'm kind of, I do the finger wave like, no, we're not doing this.
You don't even see that. It's you do notice that as they're coming at you, it's almost like a dog, like showing their gums, and in that direct aggression. But you notice they continue to chant as the learn some plot. As Caroline.
Yes.
You're up.
What can I? What could I do to help? Can I try to? I don't know. What could I do that would be helpful at the moment?
I would say you could potentially attempt a teamwork together. As
to change the incantation.
Change the incantation. Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna join in on that. Distractions have been made. I probably left.
With the distraction, as you look, the others begin to kind of snap their heads round to look at Templar, who is at the present sort of fielding off swipes that are being sent his direction.
No, don't look at him. Look at me. My target.
So, this is a teamwork action?
Go for it, yeah. So, as everything begins to shift in your perception of things, Templar, as you begin that transition into the ghost field as well from your attune roll, you feel the Quicksilver take hold as the building seems to crumble, begin to fall down. And ash and dust seems to rise upwards from the wreckage that remains. And at the same time, you feel like the building stands once again in its one-time glory.
All right. Caroline, what's your attune? I don't know who. I think maybe you should lead it.
Yeah, I have to.
Yeah, maybe you should leave because I am getting pretty full on stress. So.
Okay, well, yeah, I have 4 to go, so I
Oh, you have 4 to go. I have 4 to go. We're both tied.
Most you'll get here is 2, so just, and that's from a completely failed check.
Yeah. So I mean, at this point, I think mine is still boosted by the Quicksilver, but normally it's 1.
I would say we'll do the second one this time. You've working together with the setup from the Quicksilver and everything going. I'd say both of you get +1 on this one.
Oh, well, then Caroline definitely leads because she has 3 then.
Hey.
So I will roll my attune. The standard. This is support +1 bonus die. Not a failure. Close, but not a failure. Another 5.
Failure is
No, so both successes with complications. As you stand there, Caroline, you're aware of the building seems to rumble at your feet, and a little bit of debris begins to sprinkle down from the ceiling. And at the floor, as you rock Templar, as another one of these things takes a swipe, you're able to sort of knock it back a little bit. You're aware of a hairline crack that emerges from underneath that body that convulses and begins to run towards you, almost where you stand, kind of legs apart for the sturdiness of your stance. This hairline crack that fractures right between your legs.
Oh
On the floor.
I'm gonna make sure to immediately move to one side or the other. I don't want to end up having to do the horizontal split of death.
It's a hairline fracture at the moment. I don't need to worry about the earth splitting. And
I'm of course gonna, adjust my stance so I'm still, on balance and everything. But I am gonna make sure I'm not straddling that crack. I don't want anything like that to happen.
As you switch and fend off another swipe, push back on the other one's basically hand under the jaw as it goes for a bite. You sidestep as rubble and dust tumbles from the ceiling above you, clattering on the floor at your feet and dusting your shoulders slightly in old plaster and debris.
But yeah, the main goal here is to get this tune to change, so... how are we doing on that exactly?
There's some of those that once again look up to Caroline falter, and there's almost a moment of stagnation where the chanting ceases and it becomes disjointed. Some continue, whereas others start again with where they left off. So now the chanting itself is almost on top of itself, while some are further back and while others are ahead in the rhythm of the incantations.
Well, I mean, it is just, once again, I hate doing this, but it's another attune roll because we're unless you want me to roll something different, because I understand.
I was going to say, if you want to do, if you wanted to do potentially a skirmish or something like that to fend off these two.
All right. Well, if I'm going to do that, I'm going to take my last. No, it's not my last. But I'm going to check off my fine heavy weapon.
Okay.
Which is essentially pulls out what looks to be it's a maul essentially. So this this kind of massive warhammer type deal. And I am gonna clobber these things. This is a skirmish.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it is a fine heavy weapons. This is risky standard, or technically be risky greater, right? Because it being fine, or is it risky standard because they're a higher tier?
Risky standard, yeah, they're higher tier.
5.
It's as you absolutely, one of them gets that little bit too close, and as you swipe up with the hammer, and there's a crunch as its neck just goes backwards, falls to the ground, as around half of them kind of feel that disruption between their unity and cease chanting for the briefest of moments.
You hear under Cathal's breath, "Come on, start singing. Just sing. Chanting sucks," so to speak. Probably a little bit more colorfully than that.
Caroline, final moment as in that ceasing and the now somewhat diminished silence, those ghosts that surround you begin swirling once again, much more active, much more decidedly of their own faculties, be it of who they once were or those that have lost themselves along the way, but the eyes begin to burn with that brightness of plasm once again. This is it, do or die. One roll.
Yeah, so it's an action roll again.
Okay.
Remember, I'm sorry, I've got to be the player. Remember, you can get an extra die from arcane implements and quicksilvering it.
I can do that. Yes.
Okay, so you will take a level 2 harm as of zoned out as the quicksilver just takes over your mind
and then push, do whatever else you need to do here.
Yeah, I'm going to push as well. So it's 2 bonus die.
2 bonus die, level 2 harm.
And can I argue? Oh, I just heard the beep. I was just gonna say.
You don't need to argue anything.
Because it was a crit.
Caroline, would you like to say what happens in this moment from your perspective?
Probably a big pulse of energy that emanates from the very, very angry ghost. And that just not exactly explode in like a big whoosh, but
and as the figures on the floor below you are knocked prone by this shockwave that ripples out almost unseen, the last of the windows that remain in the building shatter outwards, the cracks in the floor become that little bit wider, and a silence hangs over the room for the briefest of moments, until all of them stand up, almost marionetting as they regain their footing. The figure in the middle of the room stops convulsing, and that figure too stands up, and all in unison, together just begin swaying. The two of you, attuned as you are, hear it together as they as they stand there swaying. As something happens, the ghosts around you disperse as if driven away. And in that unheard song, what would you like to do?
Well, now that Cathal has a moment to breathe, he is gonna kind of place the head of his hammer down and kind of lean against it a little bit, drawing in a deep breath, and he starts to sway a little bit. He's not, obviously, he's doing it of his own volition. He's doing it of his own accord.
For sure. Caroline?
Yeah. I think Caroline feels less conscious about it and probably felt more drawn to it. That sway as well, but almost without noticing it.
So, looking up, Cathal, Templar, you would see this as Caroline stands on the edge of that collapsed floor above you, and you see her just following that same rhythmic back and forth, sort of almost round in that kind of semicircular arc that the hollowed in front of you continue to do themselves.
There is a smile that comes across Cathal's face at this point, as he does, after a few moments, he begins to make his way back up the ladder to rejoin Caroline.
And as you arrive at the top, you see Caroline clearly as she is almost caught in that daze once again. And almost as quickly as it started, you see she blinks a little bit, catching herself and returning to normal, while the group below you continue their invocation.
It is about that time we head back. The preceptor wasn't here. We'll have to deal with that later, it seems. But for now, crisis is averted.
It worked then.
That it did.
And as the two of you take your leave, worn down, slightly broken, and certainly feeling the effects of both mental, physical pain, you trudge through the unpaved, muddy streets of Dunslough Ghetto, while elsewhere across Dusklough, a girl sits alone on a wooden floor of a sparsely furnished room. A mane of black hair kind of half hanging over her face as she draws in charcoal on ragged paper. And to those that would see her clearly, would see that her eyes have almost rolled back into the sockets as she creates a scene of several hollowed stood up in a circle in a forgotten basement in Dunslough, looking up at the two silhouetted figures above them. and the eyes roll back into their normal position as she almost blinks as the minimal light catches her eyes. Looks down at the image that she has created in front of her, smiles, and says, "The world as it should be. Do you hear it?"
You have just finished listening to this week's episode of Blades in the Dark, What Happens in the Dusk, part of the Domain Gaming, written and told by Livespark and Wyverian. A special thanks to you, the listener, and if you wish to continue supporting us, subscribe, like, and share. As always, comments are welcome. Until the next chapter, to those without direction, follow the lights in the quiet darkness and listen to the silent whisper.